Okay, student. Uh, so today we will start a new chapter which is known as polynomial. Polynomial is a part of algebra. In fact, it is a part of classical algebra and it is a very important concept in mathematics. Now, before going to the formal definition of polynomial, at first we have to know the important terms related with polynomials like constant, variable, algebraic expression, terms and coefficients. These are very easy to understand and most of the things you have learned in your previous classes. Okay, I am just going for the brief discussion with this topic. Now at first we have to know what is constant. Constant always possesses a fixed numerical value. Always possesses a fixed numerical value. That means any number, if you consider any number like 2 minus 3, 3 by 7 is a fraction, it is a decimal number, it is recurring decimal number. Any number that you have learned in your previous classes will be treated as constant. And variable always give you the sense of unknown thing. If I go for some particular example, like suppose if I talking about the number of students present in a class for a particular day, that will give you the concept of constant because that will be fixed. But the number of students in different days, the number of students present in different days, it is not predictable. It is not at all predictable. So that will give you the sense of unknown. In that case, we will introduce the concept of variable, and variable generally denoted by the small letter of English alphabet like small x, y, z, m, n, etc. Okay, so this is the concept of constant and variables. So variables is, what is variable? It possesses various numerical values because it is not predictable, it is unknown for us. That's why we cannot say a particular value of a variable until we can solve it. Okay, now what is algebraic expression? Algebraic expression is, it is a combination of constants and variables connected by some means operations. Operations, what does it mean? Operations mean the four fundamental operations. I am talking about the four fundamental operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication or division. Okay, some more operations can be involved like cube root, square root. They are also operations known as unary operation. And addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, these operations are known as the binary operation, because to operate these operations we need two numbers, at least two numbers we need. Okay, because if I tell you that what is the answer of 2 plus, then you cannot give me the answer, because the operation addition or plus will be activated if I provide at least two numbers. Only one number, giving only one number, you cannot find out the value. Similarly, what is unary operation? Unary operation is nothing. If I provide only one number, then you can give me the answer by using the unary operation. Like square root. Square root of 9. Only one number has taken 9. Then square root of 9, it will give you either plus 3 or minus 3. Okay. So this is the concept of operation. Now we will concentrate over the concept of algebraic expression. Algebraic expression is a combination of constants and variables connected by some operations. Here I have given some example like 2x plus 3y. It is an algebraic expression because if you observe here, x, y both are variables because we don't have any idea about the values of x and y. 2, 3, they are constant, and here this sign minus, that is subtraction, is an operation, and between 2 and x we have another operation like multiplication. So this is the algebraic expression because you can find it is a combination of constants, variables connected by some operations like subtraction and multiplication in that case. Similarly, it is another algebraic expression. 5 also an algebraic expression. It is a constant. If you concentrate about the examples, in the first example you can find 2 variables. So it is an algebraic expression of 2 variables. In the second example, it is an algebraic expression because you can find variable, constant, as well as some operations. But only one variable has used. So it is an algebraic expression of single variable. Now 5 is a constant. Now you can ask me, sir, where is the variable involved in 5? Because 5 can be written as x to the power 0. So here is the variable, because x to the power 0, what is the value of x to the power 0? It is 1. So 5 can be written like this. Okay, and dot means into. You can find constant, you can find variable, also you can find some operation. That's why 5, in fact any constant, can be treated as an algebraic expression. Okay. Now terms. What do we mean by terms? Terms is a part of algebraic expression. It is a part of algebraic expression separated by addition or subtraction only, not by division and multiplication. What I mean to say? Very simple thing, you can understand it. Suppose I have written 5x minus 3z. Now 5x and 3z are separated by this operation. So 5x is a term, 3z is another term. But if I talking about 3x into 4z, here 3x and 4z are not two different terms in this algebraic expression, because in the definition of terms, it is separated by addition or subtraction only, not by multiplication or division. Here multiplication sign is there, so it will be treated as a single term. It is a single term. Okay, so this is the concept of term. And what is coefficient? Coefficient is the multiplicative factor of terms. That means, suppose for any example, this one 5x minus 3z. Here 5x is a term. Very good. Now what is the coefficient of x? What is the coefficient of x? To find the coefficient of x, we have to observe the multiplicative factor involved in x. Now in that case 5x, what is the multiplicative factor of x? It is plus 5. So coefficient of x in that case is plus 5. Now what is the coefficient of z in that term? Here the coefficient of z is minus 3, because coefficient always involve the sign, it is important. Okay, so these are the numerical coefficient. Another type of coefficients are there in mathematics, which is known as the literal coefficient. What is literal coefficient? Now for this example, 5x minus 3y, if someone asks you what is the coefficient of 5, it is x, because 5 into x, the multiplicative factor of 5 for this term is x. And here coefficient of 3, it is minus z, because always involve the sign minus and z, the variable involved here. So these coefficients are known as literal coefficient. These are literal coefficients and these are numerical coefficients. So two types of coefficients are there, literal coefficients and numerical coefficients. Numerical coefficients are always constant and literal coefficients are always variable. Okay, got it? Okay, now we will go for the formal definition of polynomials. Polynomials in one variable. Okay, this is our topic. Polynomials in one variable. Generally it is denoted by f of x. F for function and x depending on the single variable x. This is the general form of a polynomial in single variable. General form. It is the general form of a polynomial in single variable. An x to the power n plus an minus 1 x to the power n minus 1 plus an minus 2 x to the power n minus 2 plus dot 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 plus a1x plus a naught. Now you can ask me, sir, what it is? Here you can find three kinds of terms, three kinds of quantities. Number one, n. N is one kind of quantities. X and an minus 1, an minus 2, such type of quantities. Now what is n? N is known as the degree of the polynomial. N is known as the degree of the polynomial. That means the highest power of variable, the highest power of variable is known as the degree of the polynomial. Now n always belongs to, this sign means belongs to, this sign means belongs to. N always belongs to W. W means whole number set. Now I think you all have some idea about the whole number set. The whole number set starts from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3 and so on. Okay, but you cannot find any negative number inside the whole number set, as well as you cannot find any fraction in whole number set. That means the degree of a polynomial, the degree of a polynomial is always a positive integer including 0. A positive integer including 0. The degree of a polynomial cannot be fraction. The degree of the polynomial cannot be negative. Got it? So this is most important thing. Now an minus 1, a1, a0, what are they? Actually they are known as the coefficients of different terms in the polynomial. Coefficients of different terms. Coefficient means the multiplicative factor. Now what is the multiplicative factor of x to the power n minus 1? It is an minus 1. So that's why it is a coefficient of this term. This is the coefficient of this term and so on and so on. These are the coefficients of different terms in the polynomial. Now as n is the highest power, because in the next term n minus 1 it is less than n. Okay, it is less than n. So degree of this polynomial is n, and an x to the power n, this is the first term, the term involving the highest power of the variable. The term involving the highest power of variable is known as the leading term. Is known as the leading term. This is the leading term. And the coefficient of the leading term is known as the leading coefficient. And a0, here you cannot find any variable, but a variable is hidden there, because a0 can be written as a0 into x to the power 0. A0 can be written as a0 into x to the power 0. So this term will be known as the constant term. Okay, constant term. So ultimately what we have? We have 5 things to remember, 5 points to remember. Number 1, the degree of the polynomial, which is n, and which means the highest power of the variable. The highest power of the variable. And it always belongs to the whole number set. The degree of the polynomial cannot be fraction. The degree of the polynomial cannot be negative. Most important. an minus 1, a1, a0, these are the coefficients in different terms of the polynomial. The first term involving the highest power of the variable is known as the leading term. The coefficient of the leading term is known as leading coefficient, and the term which do not involve any variable is known as the constant term. Now if we look for this example, it is just like in this form. Okay, so it is another polynomial. It is a particular polynomial in one variable. Now what is the degree of this polynomial? If you observe the different power of the variable in different terms, you can find 4, 3, 2, here it is 1, here it is 0, because it is x to the power 0. So what is the highest power? The highest power is 4, so degree of this polynomial is 4. Okay, and coefficients in different terms, it is 3 and minus 4, 7, 3, minus 10. These are the coefficients in different terms. Okay, leading coefficient, LC means leading coefficient. Leading coefficient is 3. Leading term, LT means leading term. Leading term is 3x to the power 4, the first term involving the maximum power of the variable. And what is the constant term in this polynomial? The constant term in this polynomial is minus 10. Here it is, the minus 10. Got it? So this is the concept of polynomial as well as the terms related with polynomials like degree of the polynomial, coefficients in different terms, leading term, leading coefficient and constant terms. Okay, got it? Okay, next content is zeros of a polynomial. Zeros of a polynomial, what does it mean? It is the formal definition. If for some x equals to alpha, alpha is a constant obviously. If for some x equals to alpha, f of alpha is equals to 0, then alpha is the 0 of the polynomial fx. Suppose a polynomial is given to you, suppose it is fx, and someone asks you to find out the 0 or zeros of this polynomial, then you have to find out some value of x for which the value of the entire polynomial will be 0. Then this number alpha will give you the concept of 0 of a polynomial. Got it? Now if we look at this example, fx equals to x square plus x minus 2. You can easily observe it is a polynomial in single variable. And what is the degree of this polynomial? The degree of this polynomial is 2, because 2 is the highest power in the variable. Now for this polynomial, if we observe f of 1, now what is f of 1? Simple thing, fx equals to this thing. You have to replace the value of x as 1. Here x is there, so it is x squared plus x minus 2. Now instead of x, if we put 1, then that will be f of 1. So it is 1 squared plus 1 minus 2. What is the value? It is 0. As f of 1 equals to 0, so naturally 1 plays the role of alpha in the formal definition. So 1 will be the 0 of this polynomial. 1 is the 0 of this polynomial fx. Again, f of minus 2. If you put f of minus 2, simple, you have to substitute minus 2 instead of x. It is minus 2 whole square because x square is there. Instead of x, we are putting minus 2. So minus 2 whole square plus minus 2 minus 2. So it is minus 2 whole square is 4, minus 2 it is 4, ultimately it is 0. Again, we can say minus 2 is another 0. Minus 2 is 0 of fx. So ultimately we have two zeros for this polynomial. Can we predict the number of zeros? Can we predict the number of zeros for a particular polynomial in single variable? Yes, it can be predicted. Actually, for this purpose you have to observe the degree of the polynomial. If the degree of the polynomial is n, in general n, then you can find n zeros. Maybe they are equal, maybe they are different. Okay, maybe they are equal or maybe they are different. Now here, for this polynomial, what is the degree of this polynomial? The degree of the polynomial is 2. So naturally we can find two zeros, and you can observe 1 is the first zero and minus 2 is the second zero. Got it? So this is the concept of zeros of a polynomial. And one thing I should share with you. Now by putting the value, some trick can be taken. Actually you can think, suppose a polynomial fx equals to 5x cube minus 4x or x cube minus 4x plus 3. Now you are interested to find out 2, f of 2. Then how to find f of 2? Simple. You can think this polynomial, you can think this polynomial in this way. Look at this trick, it is very interesting. F of x equals to x cube minus 4x plus 3. We can think it like this. F of blank equals to blank cube, because x is there, x cube minus 4 into blank plus 3. Okay. Now what you have to find? You have to find f of 2. Simple, you put the value 2 in that blank box. So it is 2, then f of 2 will be find out. It is 2 cube minus 4 into 2 plus 3. That is 8 minus 8 plus 3. It is equals to 3. So for this polynomial, what is the value of f of 2? It is 3. Now my question is, do you think 2 is the 0 of this polynomial? The answer is no. 2 is not the 0 of this polynomial, because f of 2 is equals to 3, not equals to 0. Not equals to 0. If we find f of 2 equals to 0, then we can say that 2 is the 0 of the polynomial. In that case, 2 is not the 0 of this particular polynomial. Got it? Now we will take some particular example. Here I have written four functions, okay, in different variables. Now we will check whether they are polynomials or not. First one, f1x. f1x is a function that is a polynomial in x, the single variable. It is 2x to the power 6 minus 4x to the power 5 plus 7x square plus 3. Is it a polynomial? Yes, it is a polynomial, because it will satisfy all the conditions of polynomials. What is the degree of this polynomial? The degree of this polynomial is 6. It is a polynomial and degree is 6. Degree is 6, because 6 is the highest power of the variable. Now for the second example, f2x, x to the power minus 2 plus 2x to the power minus 1 plus 4. If we write this one, then you have to observe the power in different terms. Now for the first term, what is the power of x? It is minus 2. Second term, the power of x, the index of x is minus 1. But I told you that to be a polynomial, the power must belongs to the whole number set. That is, power or degree cannot be negative, cannot be a fraction. So here we can find the negative index. That's why it is not a polynomial at all. It is not a polynomial. So no question of degree. Okay. Now for example 3. For example 3, it is a polynomial in y. Is it a polynomial? The answer is yes. You can find some confusion about this term, but there is no doubt about it that it is a constant. Root 7 is a constant, and nothing, no condition imposed on the coefficients in the definition of polynomial. There was no condition, because in the definition of polynomial it was stated that the coefficients can be any real number, and root 7 is a real number. The only conditions imposed on the degree, the power cannot be negative, the power cannot be a fraction. So here, what is the power of the first term? It is 3. What is the power of the second term? It is 1. Variable, look at the variable, not at the constant. Constant may be anything, may be any real number. But degree cannot be negative, cannot be fraction. Here, degree is 3, degree is 1. So obviously it is a polynomial. And what is the degree of this polynomial? The degree of this polynomial is 3, because 3 is the highest power involved. Okay. Now f4. So you can write this as it is a polynomial. It's an expression. It is an algebraic expression in z, the variable z. Now this can be written as z plus 3 into z to the power minus 1, because 3 by z, that means 3 into 1 by z. Now according to the laws of indices, 1 by z can be written as z to the power minus 1. So it can be written 3 into z to the power minus 1 plus 2. Now my question is, do you think it is a polynomial? The answer is no, because here we can find some negative index. Okay, now for this negative index, we cannot declare that this is a polynomial, because we know the degree or the power in different terms of a polynomial cannot be negative, not even a fraction. Got it? Now we will start our discussion about some important part in polynomial, which is known as remainder theorem and factor theorem. But before going to that part, Look at this observation. It is most important to understand. Otherwise, you cannot understand anything about remainder or factor theorem. This is a basic relation. Now we know that for any division, we can find these terms, these particular terminologies like divisor, dividend, quotient and remainder. Okay. If we take some particular example like 19 is divided by 4. 19 is divided by 4. Now comparing with this particular structure, we can say 4 is the divisor, 19 is the dividend, 4 into 4, that is 4 is the quotient and 3 is the remainder. Okay. Now look at this formula. It is very well known formula. Dividend is always equals to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Very important. And most important, remainder is always less than the divisor. Here from this example you can observe it very easily. What is dividend here? For this particular example it is 19. Now you can observe 19, it is dividend. Now it is equals to divisor. Divisor is 4 into, what is your quotient? Quotient is 4 plus remainder. What is remainder? It is 3. Yes, it is an identity. So it will be satisfied always. So this relation is true for in any case. Okay. And it should be also observed that the remainder is always less than the divisor. The remainder is always less than the divisor. Got it? It is most important. Now for any polynomial, we are talking about mainly polynomial. Now for polynomial it will also work. It will also work. But here the remainder polynomial, the degree, here the degree will be involved. The degree of remainder polynomial is less than the degree of divisor polynomial. Only polynomial will be involved. We will give some particular example later. So this is the structure. It is very important to know. Dividend is always equal with divisor into quotient plus remainder. Okay. Now one more interesting thing is that if remainder is equals to 0, then what will happen? If remainder is equals to 0, then what will happen? Let us take some example. Suppose 25 is divided by 5. Okay. Or 30. 30 is divided by 5. So it is 5 into 6, 30. So remainder is 0. Right? So if remainder is 0, then we can say that dividend is equal with divisor into quotient. Remainder is 0 in that case. Got it? Here also you can observe 30 is equals to 5 into 6 plus 0. 0 is the remainder. It also got. So if the remainder is equals to 0, this is the form. If R for remainder is equals to 0, we can write it. Then we can say the dividend is completely divisible by divisor. The dividend is completely divisible by the divisor. Here 30 is completely divisible by 5. Most important thing. So this is the structure for total divisibility. Total divisibility. Okay. If in general A and B be two real number, belongs to R means real number set. Now when can we say that B is completely divisible by A? When can we say? If B is equals to some integer into A, B equals to some integer n belongs to Z, then we can say B is divisible by A. Then we can say B is divisible by A. Let us take another example. Suppose 7 and 56. Now the question is 56 is divisible by 7. Then we have to check 56 equals to some integer into 7. Can we find any integer? Yes. Here the integer is 8. That's why we can say 56 is divisible by 7. But if we take 7 and 58 or 59, then 59 equals to some integer into 7. Can we find any integer? Can we find any integer? The answer is no, we cannot find any integer. So that the multiplication of this particular integer and 7 will give you 59. It is not happening. Okay, so this is the condition of divisibility. Condition of divisibility works for polynomial also. Clear? Got it? Now look at the definition, or look at the remainder theorem. What is remainder theorem? If a polynomial fx, obviously it is a polynomial in single variable where the coefficients are real numbers. Coefficients are real numbers. Okay. Or specifically you can say it is integer at your standard. At your standard 9, you can consider it as integer, the coefficients of the polynomial. If it is divided by x minus alpha, by another polynomial of single variable of degree 1, it is a polynomial of degree 1, right? If it is divided by x minus alpha, then what will be the remainder? The remainder will be f of alpha. The remainder will be f of alpha. Got it? Simply you have to substitute the value of alpha instead of x. Then you can find out the remainder. Now if the divisor is ax plus b instead of this one, then what will be the remainder? The remainder is f of minus b by a. Now you can ask me a question, sir, how to find out, how to know that the remainder will be f of minus b by a? It is a very simple thing. At first you have to observe the divisor polynomial. At first you have to observe the divisor polynomial and take the zero. Take the zero of this polynomial. You know what is zero of the polynomial? The zero of this polynomial is alpha. The zero of the polynomial is alpha. Then to find the remainder, find out the value of f of alpha. Here also, it is the divisor. So take the 0. If we take the 0, then what will be the 0 of this polynomial? It is minus b by a. Then take f of minus b by a. You can find out the zeros. You can find out the remainder. For some particular example, find remainder when fx equals to this one. This is a polynomial in single variable having degree 2. If it is divided by another polynomial of single variable with degree 1, which is 2x minus 1, then what will be the remainder? We have to find out. So at first, we will take the 0 of the divisor. 0 of the divisor. What is the 0? The 0 is half. Just take it equals to 0 and find the value of x. X equals to half. So that is 0. Half is the 0 of this polynomial. Okay. Now what will be the remainder? The remainder will be f of half. F of half is the remainder. Okay. And what is the value of f of half? Half squared minus 8 into half plus 6. Calculate the value. 1 by 4 minus 4 plus 6. So ultimately it is 1 by 4 plus 2. That is 9 by 4. Okay. So this is the answer. Clear? So easy to find out the remainder. This is the process by which we can find out the remainder when a polynomial is divided by another polynomial. Okay. Now you can ask me a question, sir, how you can say that if a polynomial fx is divided by x minus alpha, then the remainder will be f of alpha. How can you say that? It's a very easy to observe, very easy to observe. I am just giving you the outline of the proof. Suppose this is the polynomial, it will be divided by this polynomial. So it plays the role of divisor, it plays the role of dividend, it plays the role of divisor. We have to find out remainder. We don't have any idea about the quotient, but according to the previous discussion, we can say fx equals to, that is dividend equals to x minus alpha into q for quotient, plus r is the remainder. That was the structure. Okay. Here r, the degree of r is always less than x minus alpha. Okay, we know that. Now if we put x equals to alpha here on both sides, x equals to alpha, Then we have f of alpha. Just use the concept of blank box. Instead of x, we will put alpha. So it is alpha minus alpha into q plus r. Alpha minus alpha is 0. So f of alpha is ultimately equals to r, which is remainder. That's why we can say f alpha is the remainder when this polynomial is divided by x minus alpha. Got it? Now the last part of our discussion is factor theorem. Now this is the formal concept of factor theorem. Let fx be a polynomial. Obviously it is a polynomial of single variable having some coefficient in real number set. Then x minus alpha is a factor of fx if f of alpha equals to 0. Now how to detect the factor of a polynomial? Simply you have to find out a number x equals to alpha so that the value of the entire polynomial is 0. In that case we can say x minus will be a factor of this polynomial. The reverse thing, the converse statement is also true. That means if we find f of alpha equals to 0, then x minus alpha is a factor of the polynomial fx. Okay, now here you have to understand the concept of factor. What is factor? You know that, I know. It is very easy concept. That is factor. Suppose 12. Now 12 can be written as 4 into something. Do you think so? Can we find any integer here? Yes, we can find some integer 3 here. 12 equals to 5 into something. Can we find any integer? I am talking about integer. I am not talking about any fraction. So can we find any integer here? No, we cannot find any integer. Here again we can find some integer. So in that case we can say 12 can be written as 4 into 3 plus 0, and it is not possible. And here also this is plus 0. That means when remainder is equals to 0, try to remember the divisibility property. The divisibility that was discussed. B equals to n into a. That was discussed. Already discussed. B equals to n into a. N is any integer. If so happen, then we can say B is divisible by a. In that case we can say B is divisible by a, because the remainder is 0. The remainder is 0. Here B is the dividend, a is the divisor, it is the quotient, and it is the remainder. Remainder is 0. So if remainder is 0, we can find the factor. Okay, so if we can say if r is equals to 0, then we can find the factor for both the numbers and for also a polynomial. Okay, this concept is also valid for polynomials. Okay, if remainder is 0. Now when remainder is 0? When the remainder will be 0? Simple. What is the remainder? For this polynomial the remainder is f of alpha. If we divide it by x minus alpha, in the previous discussion we already discussed about the remainder theorem. If fx is a polynomial given to you and if it is divided by x minus alpha, then what will be the remainder? The remainder is f of alpha. Now to be the factor, the remainder should be 0. To be the factor, the remainder should be 0. Otherwise we cannot say it as a factor. Okay, here also 4 is a factor of 12. 6 is a factor of 12. Also 2 and 3 are factors of 12. Got it? This is the concept of factor theorem. Now look at the example. Suppose example 1. Example 1. Here fx is a polynomial given to you. Fx equals to x to the power 4 minus x square minus 12. Obviously it is a polynomial of degree 4. Gx is another polynomial. It is a 1 degree polynomial in single variable. To check whether gx is a factor of fx or not, we have to check whether gx, that is x plus 2, is a factor of this polynomial or not. So at first that is in step 1, we should find out the 0 of gx. 0 of gx. What is the 0 of gx? Simple, it is minus 2, because if you put this is equals to 0, then x equals to minus 2. So minus 2 is the 0 of this polynomial. Okay, now we have to find out f of minus 2. To find out the 0, this is the step 2. It is step 2. In step 2, we have to find out f of the 0 of gx. F of the 0 of gx. Okay, we can write it as f of 0 of gx. That is f of minus 2 here. Now we will check what is the value of f of minus 2. If f of minus 2 is equals to 0, then we can say remainder is equals to 0 for this polynomial, and if remainder is 0, then that will be a factor. If remainder is 0, then that will be a factor. The x plus 2 will be a factor. So let us check. X to the power 4, just blank box theory. X to the power 4, instead of x we will put minus 2. So it is minus 2 whole to the power 4 minus 2 whole square minus 12, because our polynomial was fx equals to x to the power 4 minus x square minus 12. So instead of x we will put minus 2. Minus 2 whole to the power 4 minus of minus 2 whole square minus 12. Let us check. It is 16, it is minus 4, it is minus 12. Okay, so 16 minus 4 is 12, 12 minus 12, it is 0. As f of minus 2 equals to 0, so what will be our conclusion? We can conclude, yes, x plus 2, that is gx, will be the factor of, therefore gx, that is x plus 2, will be a factor of fx. Okay, will be a factor, will be the factor, not. Okay, because it is a polynomial of degree 4. We can find 4 factors. We can find 4 factors for this polynomial. X plus 2 is one of the factors. Got it? So that was example 1. Now we will go for example 2. Now we will go for example 2. In example 2, a gx is a polynomial of degree 1 of in single variable 2x minus 1. And it is given that this is a factor of this polynomial. This is, that is 2x minus 1 is a factor of this polynomial. It is given to you. But this polynomial fx is not known for you entirely because of the presence of this unknown thing k. You have to find out the value of k. By knowing this is a factor of this polynomial. Now according to the factor theorem, if it is a factor of this polynomial, at first in step 1, find 0 of gx. 0 of gx. Now what is 0 of gx? It is half. Very simple. Put it equals to 0, you can find x equals to half. So half is the 0 of this polynomial gx. Now as it is a factor, it is already declared. It is already declared that it is a factor. So naturally, in step 2, you can claim f of half is equals to 0. You can claim it. You can claim it because it is declared that this is a factor of this polynomial. So according to the factor theorem, f of half is equals to 0. Now f of half means you have to substitute half instead of x in this polynomial. So it is 2 into half cube plus k into half square plus 11 into half plus k plus 3 is equals to 0. Now simplify it. 2 into 1 by 8, 1 by 2 whole cube is 1 by 8 plus k by 4 plus 11 by 2 plus k plus 3 equals to 0. Now let me remove this thing at first. Now look at the calculation. So it is 2 into 1 by 8 plus k by 4, 1 by 2 whole square is k by 4 plus 11 by 2 plus k plus 3 equals to 0. Now 2 into 1 by 8 is 1 by 4, k by 4, k is taken here, 11 by 2 plus 3. Okay, now let me remove this thing. Now look at here, k plus k by 4 plus 1 by 4 plus 11 by 2 plus 3 equals to 0. Simple calculation. We will go for the k. 4 is the LCM, 5k by 4. Here 4 is also here also 4 is the LCM. So ultimately we have 1 plus 22 plus 12. Simple calculation is actually 5k by 4 plus 35 by 4 equals to 0. Multiplying both sides by 4, we have 5k plus 35 equals to 0. That is k equals to minus 35 by 5. That is k equals to minus 7. So if gx in this particular problem, if gx is a factor of the polynomial fx, then f of zeros of gx equals to 0, and by taking this concept of factor theorem we can find out the value of k. Now some more problem can be derived